There were 4 separate occasions and girlfriend still denied it. Part 2. Hi everyone, welcome back to another Reddit cheating story. Before we start, please hit the subscribe button and click the notification bell so you won't miss another cheating story goes live. She is very self-centered. She completely didn't consider my emotional state and what I hope to get from her to keep this relationship going. But I played it cool and couple days later explained to her how messed up all this was and she acknowledged it and said it was a mistake. Isn't that the worst when people who mess up simply agree and say sorry it was a mistake? After they make so many similar mistakes over again. 2 weeks go by, we take it slow, just meet up once or twice a week. We spent a weekend out of town in a smaller village town, rented out a villa. It was a great reset, we talked, ate great food, and hooked up. It was all positive and we continued to take it slow. 3 weeks go by and we haven't hooked up since this trip, which felt weird to me. We met up for dinner one weekend, 3 weeks later, and had a great chat and dinner. I suggested we go to my place to watch a movie and she said yes and then noted specifically, to be clear, let's just hang at your couch and watch a movie. Like WTF, I felt really weird cause she's basically saying, to be clear, we are not going to be hooking up, which wasn't my intention, but why phrase it like that? And especially after knowing how frustrated I was by our lack of intimacy even before all this, she knows how I feel about it. It made me mad and I let her know about it. To her credit, we've met up multiple times where because of all this I've been in a super negative mood. And all I would do is barrage her with my complaints about her actions or lack of. And basically point out how she's being a bad GF. She's brought it up saying, you realize you are always negative, all the time. Always throwing jabs at me and I still want to meet up and hang out with you cause I love you. I take all your negativity and jabs, but after a certain point it's bad for my mental health and I can't take it anymore. But I do it because I want to show you I love you, which is fair. It's like a negative friend. If every time you hang out with them they are being negative, eventually you will phase this person out of your life. And she isn't doing that with me, at least not yet, though she has hinted how it affects her multiple times, which I give her credit for. I try to be the positive fun guy I used to be, but she has little actions that I see as mess-ups and inconsiderate to me. Such as little lies, ignoring messages from me but talking to her friends etc., and making me less of a priority. That snapped me back to being negatively minded. 3. Her weekend plans always revolve primarily around night outs with friends. For example, one weekend there were 2 of her friends' parties on a Saturday. She's usually a girl who likes to have night outs on weekends. That weekend for Friday night was dedicated to us, and right before we went out she mentioned she's not drinking that night. Which really made me feel SHT. Not because I wanted her to drink, but because for a girl who typically likes to drink and stay out late, this was a super tamed down version of her for the night out with me. And it's because she was saving herself for the night out with her friends the next day, which she got drunk at. I feel like the perfect add-on to the weekend plans, but never the weekend plan. Never the priority. I've let her know that and she says she hears me etc. But I don't know. It just sucks, and I know the more I complain about this SHT the more beta I am and the less attracted I must be to her. But to me, if I cheated on her, if roles were reversed, I would go out of my way and sacrifice the things she sees are big deals in my life to show her how much of a priority she is in my life and how much she means to me via actions that show I am choosing her over other important things in my life. Even if it's just for the month, OBs don't want to do that forever because that isn't healthy long term. When I tell her that, she mentions she does. That she's cancelled a lot of weekend plans to hang with me. I guess in my eyes those aren't big deals, but to her it is. 4. I caught her in white lies even though I specifically told her to just be brutally honest. Don't tell me white lies cause my threshold for betrayal or deceit is at the edge, given everything. One day she mentions let's hang out after work and make dinner. I suggest I pick her up from home so we can get the food right away from Costco, it's on my way. She mentions she's working a bit later and doesn't know when she's done, so she'd bus to my place when done, which made no sense as every other time she gets Ubers or asks for rides. She said 7 p.m. but could be 15 minutes late, so I said I can pick her up and don't mind waiting as I had a phone call for work I needed to make anyway. I wait for her at 7 p.m. at her place till 7:30 p.m. I realize she's clearly not there. So I knocked on the door and all. I let it be and she texted me she left her place at 7:14 p.m. and will be at my place for 8 p.m. When I meet her at my place I ask her what was up. She mentioned she got late to leave the house because she had an argument with her dad and left at 7:15 p.m. I called her out on her lies. She said she took a break from work, went for a walk, saw some of her friends at a restaurant near her house on her walk, so she said hi and they offered to drive her to my place. She didn't want to tell me that because she was anxious if I'd get upset that she was seeing her friends, which is why she got late for our plans. This drove me nuts cause A, she straight up lied when I told her the gravity of lying at this stage in our situation. B, she didn't value our time and plans made, I had to cancel my plans cause she really wanted to make dinner. And C, she made me seem like the bad guy for being at her place to pick her up when it was not clear if she didn't want me to and that she wasn't there, aka the blatant lie. She apologized profusely and blamed it on her anxiety and fawning, people-pleasing, coping mechanism. A hard pill to swallow. The points above have made me feel even more SHT and confused. Granted, I may be biased in outlining mostly the negatives. But it's important to note all this happened prior to her taking the time to go to her first therapy session with a psychologist. After her first session with psychology, everything changed for the better. More selfless and considerate of my perspective, more conscious of her actions, and willing to be proactive to do things I noted as essential if we want to move forward. I've been so close to breaking up with her multiple times. I don't know why I'm holding on. I really feel we could have been something special, but I don't know how I can trust her again. The tiniest things put doubts in my head when they shouldn't. Update end. Here are some of the best comments from our community. She cheated not once, not twice, not 3 but 4 times. This woman has zero respect for you. Why in the world would you want to stay with someone who treats you like this? You need to be done with her. Lots of good women out there that will treat you right. Here is the second story. 15 years and I still can't let it go. I'm A, 51M, and my wife is 50F. We have been married for 30 years. 15 years ago I found messages on my wife's phone to a guy she worked with. I confronted her and she admitted she had cheated. It was an awful time, she seemed to have no regret doing it. Although she said she ended it. Life moved on, albeit a day never goes by that I don't think about it. Or use it when we have rows or disagreements, etc. She says now she feels disgusted and is so sorry, but for me the hurt has never gone away. I questioned her last year as I never got to know what really happened before. And she said after 6 months they reconnected again for a brief time. I was gutted. I had no idea and thought the initial cheating was just a blip. We are okay and carry on day to day as normal, but I have all this going around in my head. It never stops. I look at her asleep in bed and hate her for making my life so painful for the last 15 years. Don't get me wrong, I do love her, but I just can't get away from what she did. I have thoughts of leaving her. I want her to feel the pain I went through. I can't help it. If I leave at 51, I suppose most likely I'd have to live my life alone, grown-up kids aside, so would I be cutting my nose to spite my face we managed the last 15 years together? I don't know, I'm just sick of all this going around in my head for all these years, it's never ending. Sorry to rant. Thank you for watching and don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell for any future cheating stories.